Welcome to lesson 4 of generic protocol in chapter 7. In chapter 4, you've learned protocol can be used as a type, so you may group all kinds of objects regardless of struct, classes, enum, as long as those objects confirms that protocol. When you use generic protocol with the associate type, however, it no longer works. You'll discover that protocol or programming has its own flaw. Let's begin, let's learn, and let's find out. Welcome to Learn Swift with Bob. Today let's talk about protocol pitfalls. In other words, protocol is not the ultimate way to go about for every single time, and one of the problems that may occur is that it cannot be used as a type. Well, specifically, you cannot use associate type as a specific type. Well, it may not make sense here right now. I'm going to come back to this problem statement. I'm going to walk you through one by one. Okay, so let's begin with making a couple associate type that will be the associate type. So let's say we have a file type here, folder and cell folder. We're gonna work with, let's say, collection view, or UI collection view, UI table view. Well, okay, and let's say we have two cells. Okay, one is called folder cell, and then the other one is called list cells and collection cell. I'll just give you a hypothetical example. And this folder cell has an associate type. The model is actually folder. For list cells and collection cell, however, their models are files. Okay, so just bear me for a second. I'm gonna walk you through. So collection folder cell confirms to listable protocol, and that's gonna have a file type of folder. Okay, and for list cell and collection cell, they're gonna confirm to the listable protocol, but their associate type is gonna be file. Okay, and they're gonna have a function called get file type. Well, it is basically a function that describe what the associate type is like. So if it's a list cell, it's gonna tell, hey, I got a file. If it's folder cell, it's gonna have folder. Okay, so you're using protocol as a way listable that allows you to have functionality for folder cell, list cell, collection cell. Well, in this lesson, I'm not going to talk about the real implementation, but in the next lesson, you'll learn how to create reusable code using protocol. They can cells using collection view to UI table view. But in this lesson, we're going to get the fundamentals and then see what the problem that may occur when you're working with protocol. Okay, that is the important part. That's not the reusing protocol. Using protocol to make you reusable cells, not the ultimate goal in this lesson. I know you guys want to know, but it's kind of like a secret I'm holding on to because not many people know how to do it. Not many people know how to explain this. So I'm gonna make it into the next course too. Sign up for it, join the mailing list, whatever you want to. Anyway, so now we have let's go back here. Let's design a class called. Let's create a class called folder cells. Okay, that confirms the listable. So now it confirms the listable here, and then of course you have to define the associate type. You're gonna explicitly tell that hey, the file type is folder in this case. Okay, folder, all right, strings those, and also have a get file type. Hey, folder cell with file type dot self type. So what is file type? Whenever you add self on the right side of here, whenever you add the self for after class or for any blueprint, it's gonna give you the type of the type name. So for example, get a folder cell, make an object. Just gonna give you the name of it, folder cell, and then you're gonna get file type. It's gonna say, okay, I think it's not. Let's print this statement. Okay, so it's return folder cell with folder type. So it's gonna just give you the name of it. So folder type. Okay, all good. So folder cell with the file type itself, give you the name, which is folder right now. Okay, cool. So how can you apply with a collection cell? Well, pretty much the same thing. We're using only the same protocol, listable. So file type. Now the cell is not the folder cell, and when you do collection print, collection cell, and get file type, you see how when you're using protocol, you see how the code becomes more reusable, and then also become more. What do you call it? It provides a really good blueprint for what you're about to do, because you know that anything that confirms a listable has this functionality. So you see how the protocol allows you to some sort of a structure for that, for what you're trying to do. So lastly, we have a list cell, and also a list file type itself. Okay, all good. List cell with file types itself, the type. So it's pretty cool because now you're using only one protocol. I'm just gonna give you a little what we're gonna learn in the next course. You have listable protocol, but what's happening? You're applying to this folder cell, applying to collection cell. You're making your code more reusable. And can you imagine using along with protocol extension? Well, it becomes much more powerful. What if you can have some sort of a get file type function built in with protocol listable, and then you have the functionality to keep reusing that code on and on? Well, I'm not going to talk about it in this lesson. I know you guys are like, oh, Bob, come on. But it become beyond the scope of this course. And I really want you guys to get the fundamentals. When you take the next course, you are ready to go, and you only get the best juice out of it. But here's the problem. Now we have all good, everything's fine. So all good, you're happy about this. But here's a little problem. Here is a problem I'm going to talk about, which is going to go back to the first problem. Can be used as a type, and we'll see what's happening. So let's say we have call it cell, and it confirms the listable, and then let's try this collection cell and make an object out of it. So, but here's the problem. Why isn't this possible? We learned in chapter 4 that protocol can be used as a type. So now it should make sense. Listable, right? You should be able to make it. If you remember correctly from using delegate, we learned about protocol can be used as a type, but it is not working in this case. Why is that so? Well, it should work without associate type because we've done it in the past, but now there's associate type and it's gonna complain to you. And it is for fact that a lot of people, when you go to Stack Overflow, you see a lot of questions about that. If you type exactly this part on Stack Overflow, you have not thousands, a lot of people, near thousands of views actually. Why is this happening? Well, here's why. I'm gonna explain to you. This is like a secret that not many people know about this, but you will learn it with me. So here's the problem. But why is this not possible? Well, it always goes back to the very fundamentals. In Swift, everything has to be defined. The type has to be defined. And by the way, this is an error message that it's printing out. The listable can be only used as a generic constraints because it has self or associate type requirement. Well, it basically means there's associate type, so it can be used as generic constraint. What does it mean by generic constraints? We talked about it last time, generic constraint in a couple lessons ago. Well, it is a fact that you can only use as a constraint like this. So when you have a function enter list cell, T, you can only able to enter cell that confirms to the listable. Now you're able to do this. The T listable can be used as a generic constraint. Right now T is have constraints. Now you're only able to work with list cells. For example, you can only have an enter cell like that, have a functionality with only that confirms the listable cell. But still, all right, that makes sense. But you can be only used for this purpose if you have associate type. You're not allowed to do this. This is a real problem that you're having right now. And how do you solve this problem? Well, you cannot solve it. Here's why. I'm gonna give you this scenario where how about this? I'm gonna walk you through. Let's import a foundation library, and then we'll see what's happening. So yeah, let's say we have a cell that listable here, okay? And you're gonna have an arc for combination. It's basically you're gonna generate a random number, and then you're gonna use a ternary operator. If it's even, okay, become a folder cell. If it's non-even, if it's odd, you're gonna get list cell. But here's a little problem. All right, I'm gonna walk you through. So as you know, before Swift, before compiled, every language, before code gets compiled, you gotta know the type of associate type right now. But if you think about it, the folder cell, right? When you can actually call this random function in the middle of the while running, right? You can have let the user press that button, and it creates a random number, and then that random number becomes folder cell or list cell. But here's the problem. If you think about list cell right now, the type of associate type is not determined yet. So when the user is using the app, and then it creates folder cell. Okay, good. Okay, that's fine. But also you can get list cell. However, the type of associate type is not determined yet. It is unpredictable, right? Again, Swift, you gotta know type before you compile it. And for in this case cell, you are not sure of that associate type right now. It only is determined later down the road, and it can be either folder cell or list cell. It is not too sure about that. Okay, so that's why you're not allowed to have explicitly say it like this. That's just the rule. So that's why you're not allowed to do something like this when you have associate type within it. Okay, so that's a rule. You're not allowed to have a use as a type. Going back here, you can be used as a type. Okay, that's a rule. So you can only use it as a generic protocol. Am I making sense to you right now? Let's see. So again, I'm gonna walk you through one more time. So listable, has a associate type. Okay, listable has an associate type. Either in this case, we talked about it. Listable contains either folder cell or it could be file cell. But at this time, when you're running this code, if you're running this code later in the middle of the code, you're not exactly sure whether this listable right in a cell contains the associate type of file or folder. You're not too sure, and it's random. And that means the Swift is not able to infer the cell's associate type yet. You want to know right away. But okay, again, you're not allowed to know it because it's random. And Swift wants to know exactly what the cell's associated. Is it folder? Is it folder? Is it the file cell? Again, that's it. So in this lesson, we talked about the pitfall that comes along with protocol while using associate type. And it is like using protocol is like a double-edged sword, right? They got two edges while you're using the sword. It can be very effective, but it can also hurt you. So if you're again, what I'm trying to say is you got to know all. If you want to use protocol, you got to know all. You got to know this problem may exist. You got to know how to go about this problem. Is it important to use this method, or should we really use associate type when we cannot do this kind of work? Is there any simpler way? In order to understand, or in order to confidently answer to that question, you got to know everything about Swift, right? You got to know everything what Swift offers. We've taken a look at quite a lot of it. And you'll learn more and more along with enums, and we'll discover is protocol is the optimal way to go about for everything. And you'll probably answer gonna be no. There'll be much easier answers to go about. Anyway, there are a lot of talks about protocol is not the silver bullet. A lot of Korean, I've been to conferences talking about Swift. Protocol is not the ultimate way to go about for solving every single problem, but it can be useful, right? But in order to understand which one to use, you've got to know all, you've got to experience everything. So in this case, we're going to talk about, in the next lesson, I'm going to talk about how to solve this problem. We're going to use a little, it's not the legit method. There's such thing called type eraser, which I really don't like the term, but we're going to talk about it, how it works, and we'll learn how to go about this in order to solve this problem. How do you want to go about this? All right? See you guys in the next lesson. Before you move on, make sure you're good, 100% clear with generics, as well as you're comfortable with closures. Okay, I know you guys by the time this lesson, you guys are pretty good with them, but you gotta know more. All right, see you guys in the next lesson. This is frustrating, the fact that you have to have the type defined before you compile. Well, in the next lesson, let's find out how to circumvent the problem by using the brain. Someone came up with an idea to solve this problem. Let's learn about that.